Isaiah 26:12, verse from the Holy Bible. Lord, you establish peace for us. All that we have accomplished, you have done for us. And that's true. This is another day of remembrance, and I was sitting in my easy chair, and I put my iPad in my lap, and I remembered how about a year and a half ago, I started my video tube. I didn't know that's what I was starting. But see, the Lord just, we do things we don't realize what we're doing sometimes. Well, I certainly didn't. So I was sitting there in my chair that day, and I said to myself, I talked to myself a lot, and I said, you know, I don't look too bad to be 90, because I was 90 years old then. And I had been since September 19th. So I said, you don't look too bad. I believe I'll talk a little while. Because in the past, I had made some videos with a mini iPad I had, bluegrass stuff. And I had done that, so I knew how to do it. So, the fact is, those songs are still on YouTube under Clarine Zero, and they've got a lot of plays. And I still listen to them myself every once in a while, especially one of them is so good. So, you'll have to check them out. Clarine Big Zero, YouTube. So this morning, as I was reading this and having remembrances, as I sat there in my chair, and I believe I'll talk a little while, and I talked about 11 minutes. And I wasn't paying any attention how I looked. Now, I pay more attention how I look now. Fact is, I ordered me some new wigs. A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do, isn't that right? So I ordered me a couple of new wigs. And I said, you're going to look better yet, young woman. I still feel like a young woman. I feel 21 in my heart many times. And isn't that pretty behind me there this morning? I just love it. I'm sitting here in the spring of the year with the water running, talking to y'all. Who would have thought? I mean, not me, but the Lord says, I got a few things I'm going to show you, girl. He's got a sense of humor, you know. And I love a sense of humor. He gave us our sense of humor. I am having such fun watching Kentucky Living with Debbie. And she's been reading some funny stories at the kind of end of her thing. And I thought, Debbie, that's a good idea, because a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. You are doing good, little girl. I call her little girl. She's only 73 years old. You know, I have daughters that are 70, going to be 71. Almost all of them are little girls compared to me, except maybe grandma and all around grandma and chit chat with Granny Pat. Now, she is closer to my age than most anybody. We're up there. And then, I got to tell you this. Now, yesterday I was watching Granny Pat, and she lost an earring in the bathroom. Y'all got to watch that. I will not give her away. You'll just have to look at it. But maybe I'll tell you a little bit. Anyway, she was in the bathroom, and she lost the earring. And she looked everywhere for it, and she could not find it. And now I'm telling you the truth. You know I do not fib. So she looked everywhere, and she had used the potty already, and so she thought surely it was down in the toilet. Granny, you'll have to forgive me for telling this, but I can't resist it. I couldn't help but laugh and laugh. I'm still laughing. You have to forgive me. I love you. I do. And so she said, what am I going to do? I certainly don't want to put my hand down in that and hunt for that earring, but it's one of my favorite earrings. Since she had the other one on, one was missing. So she said, I know what I can do. I've got a little sieve in there in the kitchen in my drawer. So she said she went to the kitchen and she got, but you need to hear her tell it too. So she got her little sieve. And so she came back into, now she had hunted everywhere for that earring. And you know, I talk about miracles all the time. She says some people talk about miracles. It's me. I see so many miracles all the time. They're everywhere. So, and me being on YouTube, that's a miracle, girls and boys, and all you sweet children. So anyhow, went and got her little sieve, and she was prepared to sieve that water and get that earring back because it was her favorite earring. So she came back into the bathroom and she says, "Do you believe in miracles?" She said, "Because I had looked everywhere and there it was, right there in front of the toilet and the floor." She said, "How it got there. If you believe in miracles, that was a miracle." So I was telling James about it yesterday, and me and him both laughed. And yesterday when I got up from my nap, and this is a true story, when I got up from my nap, I put my earrings off because you can't lay with your earrings and take a good nap. It's irritating. So I took mine off. They weren't these, they were the little dangly ones that I really like. I like pearls. So anyway, I took them off and put them there. And when I got up, as I was putting them back on, I dropped one. Now, I had not potted or anything. I just plain dropped it, and I heard it hit the floor. I mean, I looked everywhere. I got a cabinet there. I got the broom. I swept. I searched that floor everywhere. It was not there. It was not there. I mean, it's not that hard to see. Just a minute, I'll show you. I'm going to get it. I'll be right back. Let me show it to you. I got them over here on the table. My favorite ones. And I tell you what. So I got the broom and I went underneath that cabinet. Now these are those little earrings. See that? Now isn't that cute? I got two of them. I think I got them down at the thrift store. Cute, two of them. So I told myself when I went home, I said, you know, Granny found hers. Wouldn't it be a miracle if I can find mine tomorrow, because I really like those little earrings and I want them back. I want it back. And James said, honey, you could just wear one of a kind or two different kinds. It wouldn't matter. They'd still look all right. I said, no, I want the two. Men are strange, aren't they? I told him yesterday he was like a 4-year-old sometimes. They are. But I like little 4-year-old boys sometimes. He has me looking up. Let me get back to this. I'll tell you later. I have to Google all kinds of things for him. How to keep squirrels out of the attic. And he said, I want to pick up some mothballs this morning. We're going to the Walmart. I said, James, mothballs do not work. He said, well, Google it. So I'm in the car with my phone, and we're traveling because we're going to go to Walmart and buy mothballs. And I looked up how much they cost. And I said, James, you know, honey, I have had squirrels in my attic type, and I bought mothballs. They do not work. Google it anyway. So I did. Mothballs do not work. They get used to it and don't pay no attention to it. You have to close up all your holes in your attic. Anyway, back to that earring. So I was thinking at home, maybe I'll find that one. I'm going to do a more thorough search tomorrow. So I got over here this morning, and then I remembered my earring. So I said, I'll go look. You know, I'm always hopeful. I can try to get more under that cabinet. And so I walked into the bathroom. There it was, right there on the floor in plain sight. In plain sight. I said, Pat, miracles are still happening. And it is strange that we both have these true earring stories. And I found mine this morning. There it was, right in the floor. I couldn't have missed it. How did it get there? I think my guardian angel moved it, and I think the guardian angel that Pat has fixed hers for her. I believe our guardian angels are there to help us sometimes, and we don't recognize it. But I recognized when I got these back, the one back. So now I got it. So this morning, when James was saying, Google this, Google that, Google the other, research this, I said, you got a phone. You could do that yourself. I'm not on the payroll. I'm not nice sometimes. Well, anyway, a few weeks ago, it's been a while, I was at the dumpster dive and I found this. Now, it's got feathers. Look at that. See how that is? Now, how do you wear this? I don't know, but I thought it was cute, and it's called a Christine original in it. I bet you this thing cost a fortune. So I figured you must wear it like this. No, that ain't right. I don't know how you wear it is cute, but how do you wear it? Oh, here it is. Like this. Well, maybe it's a 19 and 20s thing. Oh, there. Shall we cha-cha-cha? That's it. What do you think? Well, why I got this inspiration, I've got these vintage hats and my other YouTuber girlfriends. And this was Joyce, Mrs. Peach, Thrifty Living. Her son had went out somewhere and picked her up a hat, and she did a short with it. And she looked as cute as a button. You'll have to check that out. It's on shorts. Mrs. Peach, I call her Joyce. And she does some interesting stuff. I just don't have time hardly to watch all my interesting people that I have met since I went on YouTube. But as I was sitting there a year and a half or so ago and said, I'm going to talk a little while, and I talked 11 minutes. If you look back at them and look at me now, I don't look like the same person. I fixed myself up. I used to think if transvestites, which are guys, men, boys, male, if they can fix up and look like a woman and look so cute, why can't an old grandma do the same thing? And we do. A bunch of us do, don't we? And we're real women. We're not guys. We're very feminine. And all of us are feminine. And why do they want to do that for? I like what they're saying now. A man is a man from birth. He's a man or he's a woman. God knows there's but just two sexes. That's all he made. And he made Adam and Eve to be together, and they ran into a little trouble. And because of them, you know, he just adored her. And so he just went ahead and said, okay, give me a bite, I guess. No, that wasn't the way it happened, was it? I know the true story. But the serpent deceived Eve, and she thought, well, it would be all right to have a bite of that apple. And so when she said, here, Adam, have a bite, in my opinion, he thought, I can't resist that woman. If she says take a bite, I'm going to take a bite. And then when Jesus came down in the quiet of the evening, because then they realized they were naked. Then they knew good from evil, and they were naked as jaybirds. And so they went and got some fig leaves and stuff and kind of hid out of the way where the Father God couldn't find them. But he said, where y'all at? They said, oh, we're here kind of hiding. You always get caught out. It don't pay to tell lies, because sooner or later, usually, you will get found out. And I have seen that happen when people have fibbed to me, and then I find out later that, you know, it's hard for me to have confidence in anymore when they don't tell me the truth. I really believe strongly in the truth. And I tell you, when I found that earring this morning, I'm still saying, can you believe that? To myself. Because I looked there, it wasn't there. And then suddenly this morning it was there. So God is good all the time. And I just enjoy talking to y'all. And you say you like to hear me chatter on. And I think sometimes I don't have no title for this, whatever. So I may just start putting the dates and say, this was, what is today? Cloudy. Read this, it says, It's Tuesday, the 22nd of April. I remember when Floyd was in the nursing home and he didn't know anybody or anything, and I would go out of the morning to to feed him because they believed in feeding him. They have changed that theory since he was in the nursing home. He had Alzheimer's, my second husband, number two. After we was married 8 years, he started getting real forgetful. He loved to work on bicycles. And even when he was getting forgetful, he could still work on bicycles. So I would go, this goes good on it. So I would go get at yard sales and Salvation Army and places and buy old bikes, and he would get them to running. But I would go out there and feed him. And you know, they had calendars on the wall that would tell you what the date was. So, you know, they don't care what the date is. They couldn't care less. But I found out when he was in the nursing home and they used to feed him, so I would go out morning and evening and feed him breakfast and supper. And I would have breakfast on the way before I got there somewhere. And he never said another word after he went in the nursing home. He had a brain bleed that damaged his brain really bad too, so he never talked anymore. So I would go out and feed him, and they would talk to me, and I would cry on the way home going out of there because it is so sad, because you know they are not ever going to get well, that there's only one end, and that's death. So it was a hard time. But I started praying for the Lord to take him home, and God did take him home after about 2 years. So, and his son and daughter was so good to me. And after he passed away, you know, he was very stingy. He was very money hungry, and he wanted me to pay for everything, and I paid for a lot, but I wouldn't let him. I told him, if you don't buy groceries, I don't cook. And he liked my cooking. So after he passed away, they got in touch with me because he didn't leave me anything, and I, I didn't care because I'm okay. I could take care of myself. I was grooming some dogs. I could make money, and I had my Social Security, and his Social Security turned out to be terrific, which I didn't realize. But I was doing okay, and I could pay the rent, and well, not the rent, but the house taxes and insurance. I owned my home, and I could take care of my food. And fact is, it was so bad after he left, and I was so lonely. And not that he was much company when he was sick, but you know, you miss a sore thumb when it gets well. And I missed him really bad because it was somebody in the house, and I'm the kind of woman don't like to live by myself. I never did like to. I have done it a few times, and I was alone a long time after he passed away. But his kids were so good to me. And so after he passed away, and he left everything to them, which I knew he was going to, and I didn't care. So I told him that's all right. And I did cash a CD and buy me a car or something. But anyway, they called me up and they said, we want to give you $45,000. I said, what? They said, we want to. And you know what? They said, we're paying the taxes on it. You was good to our daddy. And I was. I mean, you know, to a helpless old man, and I really did like him a lot. He was good company. I'm not going to answer that phone. Ignore it. But anyway, they gave me $45,000. I don't even know where my phone is, so forget it. And I don't even know where it is. I can hang it up. But anyway, they did. And they paid the taxes. There, I hung it up. My watch rings. Ignore it. That's not easy. But they did. They left me $45,000. And I've just always been blessed, and I never dreamed that they would do that. And he had 3 acres and a house, and he left that to them, and I never cared for that house, and I have my own house, so I made it. And then I changed churches after a while and met James. But Floyd was still alive when I met James, because I would go to church and I would sit up in the balcony And when the music started, the tears would start running down my face. You know, we all have sorrow one time or another, and probably it's not over yet. There'll be more. We have so many, we've got some good friends that are going through such a hard time right now, and we've been praying for them, but you still go through them. You don't get out of it. You just have to live through it with the help of the Lord. That's all you can do. And you cry, and you keep on keeping on. But at the time I met James, changed churches, went where my nephew was going, and his wife was real sick, and Floyd was in the nursing home, and we knew each other probably, well, for 4 years probably before. I don't remember how long it was, but she passed away and Floyd passed away, and so we started dating, and we dated for a year and a half. One day, it was a bad storm. It was just storming awful. Well, he had an office downtown, and so he would come by. This was when we was courting, and that's what they call it. And so he came by the house to get him a piece of cherry pie, because I had made one. And so he came by to get it, and I've told this before, but you probably didn't see it anyway, so this is news to y'all. But he stopped by to get his cherry pie, and then he went on home. And when he got home, this big tree had fell on his house, and his chair where he would have been sitting with his big TV was demolished. The chair was demolished. The lamp by the chair. He had 6 cats. It never hurt one of those cats. Cats can get out of the way. It would have killed James. But God saved him, and it was $45,000 damage to his house. But the downstairs was still okay, because this was upstairs where it hit, and that's where he had his TV and his chair. Him and his wife did not like the same television shows, so she had her big TV downstairs. Of course, she was already dead and gone to heaven. She was a good woman, and I never met her, of course. I saw her pictures, but she always watched downstairs TV, because they did not like the same. Now, me and James watched TV together. I told him, I said, I am not going to be sitting around in a room by myself all the time. I don't like that. If I don't like what you're watching, I got an iPad. I can put on earphones, and we can be together. And that's what I like, because I really like his company. He's fun to be around, and he's not around too much, but enough to keep this grandma happy. And I made a prime rib yesterday, and the gravy turned out so good. And then I made mashed potatoes and gravy and yum. And I've got enough left. You know, it was just 2 ribs, but we got enough. We're going to have prime rib a little while. And I'm fixing some for lunch today, and probably have it for supper. That's a lot of red meat, but, you know, we've always ate red meat. Me and Buddy, and Buddy didn't like fish, so I didn't have fish much. I had a little, oh well, I had another one of them little hats. I don't know where it went, but this one is so different. These are all feathers, and that's red feathers right there. I don't know how it goes. I think it's like the 19 and 20s, like this. So anyway, I'm going to hush. God bless y'all. Have a blessed day, and walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. And I got my little, now I hunted these earrings up, and they're cute too. See? They are cute also. But I like those little dangly ones. I like these. So I say thank you, Lord, for my guardian angels that put it right there in the floor. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you.